right, response on the video, how to vacuum your pool. Question, I have a typical sand filter. During vacuuming on filter mode, it started to blow the dirt back through the jet after a few minutes of operation. What could be the problem? 1, too dirty sand that needs to be backwashed earlier. 2, too small particles which could not be caught by the sand. 3, technical problems with the system, gaskets, etc.
Well, all of those are possible. What I would do is look at process first. So you decide, oh, the pool's dirty, I need to vacuum. You should start with the backwash. Before you vacuum the pool, backwash. Because did you backwash the day before or did you backwash a week before? Because if you haven't backwashed in a long time and you start vacuuming, very quickly you're going to overload that filter and then you're going to get that debris back into the pool. So number one, start with the process thing. Before you decide to vacuum, backwash. Make sure it's nice and clean, then you can vacuum. Typically you're vacuuming that it should last more than a few minutes before any debris starts coming back. But what oftentimes happens is when you've pushed so much stuff into the filter and the pump's still trying to do its job, you will push the fine materials back through the sand and through the fingers and back into the pool. Especially if you have an oversized pump for the size filter that you have. And most people probably have that scenario that the pump has more potential to push water than the filter has to take water. So when you're really pushing that sand and pushing that water through the filter, a lot of times the debris comes back. So that was your number one. Number two, it could just be that it's time to change the sand in your filter. If you start with a backwash and then you start vacuuming and it gets that debris right away, that's a good indicator that your filter is channeling. And it means that as the water comes in, it can't go down through the sand back to the fingers at the bottom. It hits the top and it's almost like a skim layer that rolls to the side, and then it kind of the edge of the sand will roll down like that. If you open your filter up and you see the sand rolled at the edges, that tells you that it's channeling. And usually it channels down the edges, although I have seen holes right down through the sand. It'll push and create channels down through it, and guess where all your water goes? Comes into the filter, goes right down those channels, back into your fingers, back into the pool. And the third one, there's always a possibility that it's a mechanical problem in a seal or likely in a finger in the filter, but usually not. If you have a crack in a finger, you're going to see sand material coming back. You're going to see whatever the media that is in the filter coming back, not just a fine powder. And one last thought would also be, if you have a lot of dead algae, or you had an algae bloom problem and you killed it all, but you can't vacuum it all out, it may just be too fine to get trapped in the filter, and you would need at that point a water clarifier, it's called a polymer coagulant. It clumps the dead algae into big enough clumps so that the filter can actually take it out. So hopefully that helps.